There's nothing more frustrating than approaching dating in such a kind, generous, and loving way, and then things not working out. And often what can happen, you think, oh, well, because I'm such a kind-hearted person, because I'm such a generous and nice person, and that's not been working, then maybe I need to stop being nice, stop being generous. Maybe I need to stop coming with this warm, loving, embracing energy, because all that's done has got me hurt. And all that's done is maybe question myself. I completely understand that. However, what we don't want to do is we don't want giving the right treatment to the wrong person means we then give the wrong treatment to the right person. So I'm here to help you out. It's not that the energy you're coming into dating is wrong. It's in which that avenue that you are going down is just not serving you. Which is why in this video, I'm going to break down 5 things kind-hearted girls get wrong about the men that they like. The first one is that you think he dates the same way you do. It's very natural for you, especially if you're looking for something serious, something integral, something substantial, that you want to build a level of emotional connection first. That the focus is on getting to know him. Really understand, okay, what is this person like? What don't they like? What are their values? What is it that really makes them tick? Do we get on? Do we connect? And not just on an emotional level, but also on a mental level. Can we have fun together? All of these things. It makes complete sense for why, at least in the beginning, the focus for you is about establishing a level of emotional rapport first, before deciding, okay, this is somebody that I want to take that next step with. 100%. Men do not date in the same way. The guy you like does not date in the same way. Now, that's not to say that establishing a level of emotional connection isn't important to him, but the primary reason why any guy takes an interest in a woman or any guy takes an interest in you first is because he is physically attracted to you. If he wasn't physically attracted to you, he wouldn't be giving his time to potentially get to know you, because what reason is there for him to do that? So understand that while he may be open to establishing the emotional connection first, a guy's primary focus in the beginning is more about what level of physical connection do we have? Am I attracted to her? Is she attracted to me? Do we have chemistry? Is this something that we want to both explore together? Now, this isn't bad and it's also not wrong, but it's really important to remember that while you're spending time with him, that is like going for a walk or going to the park or maybe going for dinner, all of this stuff, recognize that for him, that's all an investment towards seeing whether you guys have the right physical chemistry that he's looking for in a partner. Because the thing is, for guys, is that no matter how amazing of a person you may be, if there's not that physical attraction or connection for him, if he's not physically attracted to you, it will never be romantic. It's not like where for, some women where you can meet a guy, you're not too sure, like you're kind of on the fence, and then you get to know him and you find out he's funny, he's intelligent, he's competent, and then suddenly you grow this attraction to him because he's an amazing person, right? That doesn't happen for men. Men are very visual and very physical, and this is the polarity that plays in the dynamic between men and women. He can love you as a person, but if he's not physically attracted to you, if there is no significant chemistry, it is only ever going to be a friendship for him. Which is why in the beginning, if he's looking at you as a potential romantic partner, that is the first thing that he's going to be focused on in terms of what he wants to establish. Do I have physical chemistry with this person? So understanding that will make a lot more sense for why guys maybe move the way they do, even when they really like you. The second thing is that if he sleeps with you, that does not mean that he is open to a relationship. So one thing we have to make sure that we understand about men is that for women, generally speaking, you wouldn't share your body with a guy unless you saw some value in him, unless you saw some kind of potential in him, because why else would you share your body, right? Like that's a sacred thing. That's something you take pride in. You look after your body, your body is a temple. So why would you share your body with a guy who at least you didn't see some level of potential to go the distance? Men do not work the same way. For men, they can have sex with a woman who they would never consider seriously. Why? Because men can compartmentalize sex. There's 2 different kinds of sex for guys. There is the sex that is connection, that is intimacy, that has a level of emotionality, that has a level of consideration, sensitivity with someone that they really care about. And then there's the sex that's just fulfilling a need. There's the sex that is just fulfilling gratification. There's the sex that's just like him going to the gym. He goes, works up a sweat, releases some endorphins, he feels great, then he leaves. He doesn't even think about the gym a second time that day. Next time he thinks about the gym is when he needs to go to the gym to work up a sweat. So if we can recognize, to understand and remember that just because you wouldn't share your body with someone that you see no potential with, you shouldn't assume that he's like that, because most men are not like that. Most men will have sex with women that they would never consider for a relationship. The third thing that kind, nice girls get wrong about the guy they like is that if you split the bill, he doesn't like you. Now, this is a very interesting one. I had this conversation with someone who was a guest on the podcast recently. We have to remind ourselves, while I understand that it is nice when the guy pays, while I understand that for you as a woman, you might see it as, oh, this is the barometer of how much effort he's making with me, right? Because if a guy likes me, he's going to make an effort with me on the first date at least. I completely get that. But we have to remind ourselves that especially in today's generation, we've grown up with the idea and principle of equality. Now, what does equality mean? Equality means I do not treat you any differently based on what gender or sex you may be. So I will treat you the same. I will treat you the same as the next guy or the next woman. So if we apply equality to dating and relationships, a man shouldn't pay on the first date. You should both technically split because you're both equal. Now, here's the thing. I know sometimes we can make the argument of, oh, but if he asked me out, then he should pay. Well, no, because when your friend asks you out, they don't pay for you, right? Like if your friend says, hey, do you want to go to the cinema to catch that new film? And you're like, yeah, let's catch that new Alien film. You don't expect your friend to pay for you just because they're the ones who suggested the plan. So if a guy is seeing you as someone equal to him, why would he then pay for you just because this is maybe under the pretext of something potentially romantic happening? So you have to ask yourself, what generation is he? Or what values does he have? If he's of a modern generation, there's somewhat of a likelihood that he may just split the bill because he's like, well, you don't have to pay for me to pay for you, right? But also if he's more modern as opposed to traditional, then that is definitely most likely to happen. And this isn't always a barometer to whether a guy will like you. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's almost never a sign whether a guy actually likes you or not. Hey, you know me, I always want to give great value. And so as a thank you for watching this episode, I want to give you the secret sauce that makes a man want to desperately commit to a woman. It's not great sex and it's not how hot you are. It's the value you bring outside of the bedroom, which is why I'm giving you my guide, the 5 feminine ways to add value to a man's life that makes you irreplaceable to him. Absolutely free. Just click the link below and it's yours. Now back to the video. Now personally for me, I've done this and my guy friends have done this as well, where we've been on dates with women and I'm like, I know for a fact that I'm not going to see her again. The date wasn't good. We didn't vibe. The connection wasn't there. We're not a right mix, but I still paid. Right? And I have a friend who's less traditional, less conventional in that sense, where he's had an amazing date with a girl, but he's insisted that they split because, well, to be fair, he's from Sweden, right? And they're very egalitarian. So he was like, so why should I pay for you? Like we're equal here. So whether a guy pays or not is no reflection of whether he likes you. It's actually more of a reflection of where his values likely lie. So he may still very much like you if he does split the bill. The next mistake a well-meaning, nice girl can make about the guy that she likes is that if he likes you, he wants to spend as much time with you or talking to you as he can. I understand that if you're a woman who sits in your feminine, you want closeness. That makes complete sense because the feminine seeks closeness, connection, and community. So it's natural that if you're the woman in your feminine, you want to be close to your man. You want him to have a stronger presence in your life. So it makes sense that you want to be messaging him, talking to him when you're not together, that he prioritizes his time seeing you whenever he can. That makes sense. The one thing we have to remember about the masculine is the masculine seeks direction, ambition, and freedom. So if you're with a man who is in his masculine, which I assume is the kind of man that you want, and if that's not the kind of guy that you want, then I'm the wrong person for you to be watching right now. But if you're looking for a guy who does sit in his masculine, you have to remember that you trying to demand for his time feels caging for him. It feels like a cage for him because it's like, oh, his time is not his to do what he wants with. It can feel claustrophobic. So don't think that just because he doesn't automatically prioritize spending all of his time with you, that means that he doesn't like you. I'll be honest with you. Even when I have been in my relationship, I have very much communicated, hey, just so you know, there are going to be days when I just need time for myself. There may be weekends that I might have free, but I just need to take a day for myself. And I'm telling you this now because I don't want you to take this as a rejection of you. It's not a no to you, it's a yes to me. And a lot of the time, many men will not communicate this to the women because so many women do take it as a rejection of them. And so guys think, okay, well, it's not worth the hassle, so I'm not going to say that to her. I'm just going to make up an excuse as to why I can't see her, which really they should communicate it. But also as a woman, it's your responsibility to be able to handle the truth. Because if you can't handle the truth, all you're telling a guy is, you can't trust me with the truth. You have to protect my feelings over everything else, which means he will lie to you. So if you want a man who is transparent, you should encourage that and embrace it. And I know it might be difficult, but even if it's difficult to understand, ask him, hey, I know you said this and I know you mean well, but could you just help me understand why that's the case? And if you don't understand, watch my content. That's why I'm here to help you understand men. Here's how you should look at it. The relationship a man has with his time and his attention is the same relationship you have with your kitty cat. It is something that you want to share, but it has to be willingly given. So just because a guy likes you, just because you're dating a guy, that doesn't mean that he's entitled to have sex with you whenever he wants, right? That doesn't mean that he's entitled to your body whenever he pleases. So just because you're dating a guy, just because you like each other and things are going well, that doesn't mean that you are entitled to his time and attention. That doesn't mean that if he doesn't give you his time or prioritize his time for you, that it means he likes you any less or that he's not choosing you. There's a fine line between a guy distancing himself and a guy just taking time for himself. And the difference is in communication. Because if his actions are reflecting intention, then that's what you need to look at. Don't look at, how much is he talking to me? Like, does he prioritize me in the weekend whenever he's free just for me? You look at, okay, have I met his best friends? Have I met his family? Do we make plans for the future further than just 2 months ahead? Right? Do we actually go on dates? Do we go on dates where sex is off the table? Or is every date we have a Netflix and chill date? If his actions in when he is with you is reflecting intention, then that is what you want to take guidance from. Not how much time he does or doesn't give you. So just because he likes you doesn't mean he will necessarily give all his time, but he will naturally give more time than he did in the beginning, but maybe not all the time that he has spare. Because I'll be honest, if you're saying that he should or should want to, that's like him saying, okay, well, if you really like me, you should want to have sex with me as much as I want to, which might not be true. It's unreasonable for him to have that expectation. You may really like him, but that doesn't mean you want to have sex with him whenever he wants it. Hey, maybe you do for the first few months, Now, the next mistake that nice girls can make with guys is thinking he naturally becomes exclusive to you the more he likes you. No, again, this is one of those ways that men and women move very differently because men don't invest with their sexual time, they invest with their non-sexual time, which means men invest in the time they spend with you when they're not having sex or where sex is off the table. So I get that as a woman, it's natural. If you're dating a guy, you really like him, you're being physically intimate, it's natural for you to be like, okay, well, why would I be physically intimate with anyone else? This is the guy I like. I enjoy having sex with him. So why would I do that with anybody else? I don't want to. Completely makes sense. Men do not work in the same way. Most men do not work this way because what ends up happening is the more a guy spends time with you is that he gives more time to you, right? He dedicates more of his time to you than he did before. But we know guys can separate emotions from sex. Guys can compartmentalize sex. So the sex he has with you can be very intimate and very fun, but then he can hook up with that girl from time to time where it's purely a lustful experience. And it's because men can differentiate between emotional, intimate sex and then just lustful sex. And this is a very common assumption that a nice girl can make. And this is where it happens where a girl will be dating a guy and maybe they've been dating for a few months, and then she finds out that he slept with someone else and she's like, what the fuck? Like, I thought we were exclusive. How could you not be exclusive to me at this point? But guys don't date the same way. A man's commitment doesn't come in the same way it does for you. For you as a woman, it comes very differently, which is why it's really important. If you as the woman have got to the point where it's really important for you that you are both exclusive, that is a conversation you have to have. Do not assume that he's exclusive to you because 9 times out of 10, you will be wrong and you will get hurt. And now here's the thing. That doesn't mean that he doesn't like you. That doesn't mean he isn't taking you seriously. And that doesn't mean that he doesn't have strong intentions with you. But recognize that his investment looks different than yours does. And so if this is a boundary you want to have, you have to communicate this. Well, thanks for tuning in. And if you're ready to take your love life to the next level, then be sure to join the Kit Angels community in the link below. Let's stay connected. See you next time.